All right, everybody. If y'all want to learn how to do this, if you want to see all the details, these two kids pretty much put this together. This is a hurricane wind power turbine. It's big for what it is. It's not small. You see them? Big. Now, these can come in 12 volt, different windings, all the way up to 100 volt for grid tie and other purposes. Off grid, you name it. This is a high quality turbine. It's the real thing. It's not some little alternator type thing. It's not some kind of wash machine motor. It's not some kind of junk that you get, rattle trap sheet metal stuff. This is the real thing. If you want the real one, you pay for the real one, you get the real one. We're going to do a test run as much as we can do with that little drill over there for RPMs. I think it'll run about nearly 300 RPMs, which is a very low wind speed. And the entire assembly, what's used, how it's used, why it's used, what results you get, how it's going to come out. The video is a long video. Look below this video for everything. Down there, if you have a cell phone, there's a little button thing you can push, and it'll make all that expand. You'll see it. So these two guys right here, they put it all together, and I'm going to show you everything. The wiring, the kind of pole, the seals, the bearings, everything. Everything to do with this. We're going to get over here. You're going to see this, hurricanewindpower.com. The guy gave me a promo code, WIN5. You put that promo code in there, you're going to save money. I don't make a nickel on it. I don't give a damn. I love it when people can do this. I'm going to show you in more videos to come how to do all this. This is the video of the Hurricane Wind Power 750 watt Vector and my designs added to it. So you're going to see that. No one else gets that, just you guys. All right, y'all stay tuned. Here comes the video. Don't skip it. You're going to like it. Hey everybody, I have been away from doing videos for a while, but you're going to see something that's going up in front of my shop, and we're going to work on some other projects. Right up over here on the building, the Hurricane Wind Power turbine will be going up very soon, and we added a 16 by 16 area onto the front of the shop, and my kids helped me out with this. Anime 2020, sitting there under the wood there. That's for my most beautiful border collie McNabb, permanent in the concrete. And so we've got this all done in here. We have all our tools out. There is our others, and there's the little pup, Item A. There's the little pup that is the most recent member of the family. But I want to show y'all something here. Is a green energy product. Now, I want you to see the size of that bearing, the size of that shaft on that thing. It's just monster. I've got really big hands, but you just look at that. And this is only a 600 to 800 watt turbine. That's it. That's all it is. And they don't lie. When they make this, they don't lie. So you can see how big, physically big this thing is. And I'll let Kira hold this up. It probably weighs about, I don't know, what do you say, 15 pounds? So this is exactly what we're going to be building, another version of Chaos. And I'm going to take you guys through the whole process. All right, guys, and as promised, except for the snow, if you wonder why I was not making the video, the weather was coming. So there's the building. There's the turbines up there spinning away. More turbines up there. And we're going to be doing some impressive work. So this building over here, it's got dark and it's snowing. Let's take a look inside, and then we're going to show you this turbine and the Hurricane Wind Power stuff. Let's go there. Here it is. This thing is built. And so the whole entire insides are finished. We're building it all ourselves. And there is the inside of the shop. So let's get ourselves in there and get going. All right, and back in the shop we go. We have Emma and her sidekick Ida. She's getting big, ain't she? And then we have Kira and Daniel. So what we're working with is we're working with this turbine here, and you know some work for a living. This one here is going to be built into a special build. There's going to be video too that's going to handle this one. This has got a different style of magnet in it based on a design that we worked together on, and this is the hardware involved in it. So everything that we're going to be showing you here, you can look below the video and I'll put links to it. One of the things is up over here. I want you to look below the video. You're going to go to hurricanewindpower.com. I'll put the link in there, and you'll put the promo code WIND5. This way you can get all your materials and what you're ordering at a discount. So another thing is some of the materials that don't come with the turbine is the roof mount.
You're going to want to buy this roof mount. This is the one that's made for that turbine. Well, it's not made by the manufacturer, but this is the one you need for that turbine, and we'll talk about that later in the video why you need this.
Okay, so below the video, links to all these parts that are related and where you can get them at. So a lot of it you can go in there and you can read reviews by other people, how they had success or fail or whatever they did that they had to correct. This turbine is a Hurricane Wind Power. So we just went in here and had this one for testing. This is got a really good output on it. We will be working with this in video 2. This video is going to be about the Hurricane Wind Power turbine. Now, I want you to look. Now, this guy calls this turbine a 750 watt, but I want you to look here. It's 25% bigger than this 600 to 800 watts. So I would be willing to claim that this would do way up and over 1,000 watts. Now that's significant. The size of the magnets are significant. Now, all right, one of the things we're going to do is we're going to run it through a test, and you want to do that. You want to take and test it. You want to test individual wires, where you're going to put 2 of these wires together, and you're going to test it on AC voltage settings of your multimeter, and then you're going to do any wire with the other wire that you didn't test with, same thing, and then you can repeat it crossed over like this. This turbine comes with a complete kit. He has a slip ring. Now, a slip ring is made so when your turbine is turning back and forth and spinning full circles in the wind, this right here is a continuous circuit, and it allows it to spin. So you can take that, and I'm going to hold the bottom of it and show you, and electricity can still travel through that. You see? That's exactly what it's for. And Tony at Hurricane Wind Power, he's one of the few that use Moflon. That's the only ones I will use, and that's it, nothing else. All right, Kira is going to start with her blades.
Yes, I am. All right, as you can see, the manufacturer of this unit has marked this blade, and so has the person who shipped it. But I would still highly suggest weighing your blades because anything could have gone wrong during the shipping and processing of this unit.
Okay, so she's going to go ahead and start weighing her blades.
Yes, I am.
And marking them off for whether they're good or bad. So we want to always do that, and that way you don't have any problems with your mount, because balance is important. These things spin, they get up to 1,000 RPMs, and it's like a tire, you know, that's out of balance. You want to make sure they're balanced well. So up over here, show you what she's using. She is setting it up. So right now, to see if 915, I think it is, what, hold it, 915?
Yep.
Yep, 915, 915. So then she'll mark each one of her blades. This is the other parts we're going to be showing you here in just a second. All right. Over here, to do with this turbine, so that you can track the information on it, we will be putting all of this down here at the bottom. And for you guys that ask always, what do you do with the burn-off power that you use? Well, how about that? That's a really big heating unit right there. That heats water. Great for a jacuzzi or anything else, or a cattle trough. If you want to heat water, it'll auto siphon hot water out one side and the other if you install a check valve. Pretty cool things. So let's get to the brass tacks of what we're going to do here. Daniel's going to get over here and do the filming, and I'm going to do the setup where we're going to test this and show you how to do this. Now the video might be a little bit long because this thing comes with a lot of parts, but we're going to show you every step, including a little trick that I use and we're going to assemble it. All right. Now, taking a multimeter, we're going to put it on 200 volts, like that. And then I'll grab me some random clips. Since we're not going to be under any load, it ain't going to hurt nothing to do this. And I'll put a clip on here and just on any wire. Now these are light gauge, but we're not under a load, so don't worry. And these turbines produce 3-phase. So there we go there. Now, as you see, 0 voltage, and you'll look at the meter right there, and I'm just going to spin this with my hand. So when we look over here, and you'll see me spinning it with my hand, like that, and then you'll see the voltage. So one of the ways to test them is you'll see here, me just spin it, just a light spin. I'm not even getting probably 15 RPMs, and you see it's about to break 12 volt voltage just with my hand. There's 10 volts. That's pretty impressive. Now, we'll get over here, and we'll just change this out to another wire so that we can test it again. Once again, spinning it with my hand. Let me prop that up for you, Daniel. So about 10 volts, I think I hit, 11 volts. So there we go. Now, that's a way that you test to be sure that your windings are good and they're accurate. We're going to take this drill here. This is a right angle drill. Its RPMs, I think, are only about 450. So Daniel will hold that there. And we're going to put this over here so he can give you an idea of what the voltage readings are. And I will put the socket on it. Now this is a metric socket, so you have to have a 24 to turn this. And then I want to put it on there. It might shake a little bit because I'm having to hold 2 things at one time, okay? All right, now we're going to show you the meter here, and we're going to show you at about with a little bit of resistance what 400 RPMs, 350 will do. So you'll see right there, we peaked out at 200 volts. Now you're going to say, that's a 12 volt wind turbine? Well, as soon as you put this with a load against it, it doesn't do that. So here we go again. So that's 160. I have it on a 500, so that's 160. Okay? Now, we're going to show you here with the rectifier, by hooking it up to the rectifier and to the battery, how it's going to pull down. Now look, 12.4, 12.39 volts right now. Can you get that focused? All right, now we're going to hook it up. This is a load test, and the battery's just been sitting here. It's out of an RV. So let me get these things out of the way here. And we will turn this off, set it aside, all the parts out of the way, and just taking standard wire nuts, we're going to wire. And it doesn't matter which wire you use. Each phase is balanced, so it will not matter. Now the reason, and a wire poked me there. So you look at the gauge of that. This is hurricane wind power, dude. These are 10 gauge. They're not no punks. That's heavy. When you're talking about a short run, a high temperature like that, that's pretty heavy. Now you would run this in 8 gauge down to your rectifier in your building or your house or your power center. That's what you would use. Okay. Now we'll take that, and this is the fun part. Looks like I nicked myself real good there too. So look at my hands, how tore up these damn things are. That's what you get for framing a building when you're an old fart like me. I'm pushing 200 right now, I think. My daughter tells me, I think 150, right, hon?
Yeah. Yeah, probably like 140.
140? I'm 140?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm a youngster.
Oh, by the way, the blades are absolutely perfect. I weighed them, and they're doing good.
Okay, so Kira has
They're all
weighed
915.
weighed all blades and checked them. And like I said, checked them. That's pretty good, huh? All 915. So if you look at that, Hurricane Wind Power is the only one to do this. Nobody else does this. Nobody. That's the reason.
He's a good guy.
He's a really good guy. So, all right, so we're going to have this. Now, the way we're going to do this, because this is going to pull a load. We have a battery. It's a little bit low, but it's going to pull a load. So, Kira is going to film. Daniel is going to run this. And I'm going to hold this here, and she's going to get over here, and she's going to film this. Now, the RPMs for this, hurt my hand there, the RPMs for this cannot exceed 400, which is what this drill is going to run at. And if you know what a Milwaukee whole hog or right angle drill is, that's what they do. It's going to drag this down to about 300, 250 to 300. So what that means is that as it's creating energy, it's creating drag. The magnets will attract to the power they're creating. That's why when you cross these three wires together, you'll create a braking effect, and we'll explain that later. Now, she's going to watch the meter. Now, over here on the meter, you have the amps, you have the peak, and you have all this other. So this meter's been hooked up for a few days, and at one of the tests, we had a peak or something. I can't remember, but it looks like it's gone. But there will be the voltage, and here will be the wattage. Now, Daniel's going to start it out slow, use the speed control on the trigger. Daniel's going to start it out. Go ahead. All right, so we'll break voltage. Now here you go. Go ahead and kick it on. All right. Give it all around. It's really fighting me. So this thing is really tightening. So I've got basically 11 amps. See my battery power coming up? 150 watts. All right, go ahead, kick it on. All right, so RPMs, let's do a verification on that. And Kira's going to come over here, and I've got a piece of tape on this right here. If you guys want to go and look in the below the video, I'll put a link to that. That is a phototachometer. It works great for anything that you need. They're better than using the physical ones. All right. So we have a piece of tape on here, and we'll do the test, and we'll see what the actual RPMs was to create that. Then I'll give you what that wind speed was. This is many years experience with me. All right, so let's go ahead and go. Put it back on there, Daniel. And you'll notice I got to hold this really well. So he's going to kick it on, and then she's going to film the numbers that come up in here. Okay, you ready? All right, go. There we go. I'm sorry I had that off of there. I'm getting it right on the money, I hope. All right, so what's the RPMs there? 279? Okay. Yeah, I was getting some of it off on that white there, but 279 is our RPMs. I think that was right. Is that correct, Kara?
Yeah.
Okay, so I had it upside down.
Yeah, you did.
So at 279 RPMs, we're making 150 watts. That is about a 12 mile per hour wind, steady, about a 10 mile per hour wind. So if you have a 10 to 12 mile per hour wind, that is your power output. So 10 amps plus and 10 to 12 miles per hour. Now, most wind turbines, they don't really achieve that. This one here would probably take about 15 miles per hour to achieve that. And then, of course, it would go up extremely fast after that. In this one's case, for every, say, 25 watts that it increases, it's only a quarter of a mile per hour, and then it's exponentialized. It goes up real fast. I hope I said that correctly. And so if you're going, say, 10 miles per hour and getting 150 watts, by the time you're going 14 miles per hour, you're getting 250 watts. By the time you're going 18 miles per hour, you're getting 400 watts to 500 watts. And anything over 24 miles per hour, you're going for 750 to 800 watts. So say if you got an average wind of 15, this is a constant 350 watt basically turbine that will produce, what would that be, about 25 amps of charge. Pretty affordable when you think about the consistency, and you've seen the snow in the beginning of the video there. Boom. And you've seen the snow there. When there's snow, the solar panels, they don't work that good. So This is a brilliant addition, and it's affordable. So Tony gets you a good price for what is in this. This thing here is basically bulletproof. It has cooling. These are really good, and they work really well. You'll see them on the roof, but they don't have cooling fins. But then again, it's a little bigger spacing between the magnets and the windings, so it allows it to race up higher. This one here is really well maintained, so you don't have to worry about having a lot of problems or failures, and it has huge pocket bearings, huge bearing in here, big bearing, and that's the lock that's in there for it. Front and rear bearings, beautiful. Now, and then look at how thick this thing is. That is your hub there, and of course it comes with the internal bolt locks and all that. So Kira's going to get ready here in a minute. She's going to be putting the blades on while me and Daniel are taking this over here and getting all our parts. So let's get all parts over. We got that now. I think they've been doing that while I was working on stuff. So with all of this, you're going to get the casement pass-through bolts. You're going to get your tail bolts. You're going to get your yaw bearing. Now we're going to explain all of that here in a minute. Now I do this different, and y'all going to see some things that I do that's different. Tony's cap is designed to go on the top of your pipe, and you just use some silicone, and it works good. Works good. But I designed a different method, and you're going to see that right here. And I have these seals I use. I use additional yaw bearings, which are basically, they're just thrust washers, okay? I use more, and I use marine grade lithium. Now, over here real quick, how's it work? What size wire am I supposed to use? What am I supposed to do? Don't forget, put the Wind 5, when you go to hurricanewindpower.com, put the Wind 5 on there. So if you go on there and to buy a wind turbine and you go, oh hell, this guy's got some really badass solar controllers, then he's got a couple of them. They're really nice. I've ordered some, but if you get a big bunch of money back. It's really smart. Now, over here, 12 volt, you're going to use 10 gauge wire up to 25 feet. It's okay for up to 750 watts. Anything other than that, you're risking it. So you're going to go 8 gauge. Anything over 80 feet, you're going to have to go to 6 gauge. Now you can run like 30 feet to 8 gauge and then up it to 6, further down. And over here at 24 volt wire, you can use 10 gauge up to 80 feet, 48 volt. Now why is that? Higher voltage, lower amperage. Okay, so the lower voltage ends up with more amps, but don't worry, still charges your battery system with the same watts. 24 volt, less amps, don't need as heavy a wire. Always use stranded too though. 48 volt, 12 gauge is fine, up to 80 feet. So you can get 12-3 wire extension cord, and it'll work on a 48 volt up to 80 feet. You can get 10, like RV cable, and use it for 24 volt up to 80 feet. You can use 10 on a 12 volt at 500 watts or less up to 80 feet. But this is a 750, and that other one is a 600/800. Now that depends. They call that a 600/800 because it's a 600 watt with 3 blades. It's an 800 watt with 5. Why is that? More torque against the battery load. All right. Now the way that the power comes in, your long run is going to be here. You're going to put that rectifier as close as you can to your battery. Your power coming in literally looks like this. If you would look at it on an oscilloscope, it literally looks like that, 3 phases. When you go through the rectifier, it becomes this. The bottom is basically knocked off and stabilized by the diodes, and the upper pulse is your positive side. The battery maintains whatever it wants to maintain in the voltage. So if you have a 12 volt battery, it'll maintain it at 12 as much as it physically can. And then if you have 24 volt batteries, it'll do the same. So if your turbine's 24 volt, now this one is a 2412. You can do it for both. And don't worry, you've seen 160 volts. That's nothing. It means nothing. The reason that it has 160 volts is because it was open voltage, like a solar panel. 30 volts open, but it charges 12 volt battery. You understand? Now, controllers. The best kind of controllers to use are like the ones that I, myself, if you'll look down there, Olympic Power Controls at yahoo.com, that's me. And if you see here, Olympic Power Controls, this is a universal relay. I'm going to put a link to where you get these below the video. These controllers and the proper SSRs, solid state relays, will get you the ability to build your diversion load. So anything above 14.6, you see, 14.6, anything above that, you're going to be able to have it, burn it off, or you can do what I do here, which we have a big jacuzzi in my shop. We're going to be making it hot. Now during the winter time, jacuzzi, make it hot. So, and then of course temperature sensor on that, a sensor, it'll shut that off. So let's get our parts. Kira Marie, get your parts on. And Daniel, your nose cone. And we're going to use these parts instead of his parts, but it's all right, you'll understand. And we're going to take this over there to show you why when you mount on a roof you want this kind like Daniel was showing you previously. It's got something to do with the type of material it's made out of being able to not leak compared to, because just a regular vent stack for like a sewer pipe, it doesn't move around. These things tend to move around a little bit, not a lot, a little bit. So you eventually get cracks, but if you use this type instead of the black one, so when I put the link under the video, you'll be better off. All right, over here, we have what Daniel has come up with, which is what now?
This is the
Polymylar?
the polymylar, and you can use any type of polymylar product, any type of plastic product, and that makes it to where your tube isn't shaking around in there. It lowers the noise.
Okay, so
like.
it's a chatter thing. Now Tony does include in his stuff, go ahead and carry that one over there. He does include in his stuff a anti-chatter ring. Kira, go ahead and get all of these parts in here and get them over there past your scale, okay? All right, and she'll get all of that stuff over there. Now, what we're working with here is it doesn't matter which direction you mount this. If you'll notice the bolt holes are all the same. Yes, get the tools. And I'll show you this. I have a really nice viewer friend that, now you'll see with that slip in there, it's also great for friction too. It's friction reduction. It makes it very snug on here, but it slides and turns very well. All right, so she's getting that over there. I have the bearings laid out. Now, Tony includes with his kit a standard yaw bearing kit, which is a singular, but I have such reckless winds where I'm at, I add a doublet. And you can request for about $15 he do the same. So make sure you send him an email saying, Tony, I want the same as John uses, okay, in his setup, and he's going to give you, I think it's like maybe $18.50 or something. Yeah. He'll give you the double set, and he will give you the top set. So what we do on an 1.5 inch pipe is we'll take this, and I will measure from the end down, and at 14 inches, I'll put my locking collar. A locking collar is this item here in his kit. Now, I use an additional one, and I use another additional one, okay? You're going to see that here in a second. So I use the base locking collar to hold the turbine up, and I use another locking collar up here. So let's get that. Get me the thrust washers and bearing sets over there for this other end. So what I do here is let's go ahead and get this. Watch out, Daniel. We're going to spin this over here, make it a little easier to do, and put the tail down there. Yes. And then up on the top, I'm going to put an additional set, so you'll see what they are. They're roller bearings. Thrust bearings is what they are. They're made for 1.5 inches, 50 millimeter actually is what they are, metric speaking. Now, that one goes on there, and using Tony's poly ring, I should have added that first. He adds a poly ring. Now, the poly ring is to reduce any type of sway or noise, and it works beautifully. So you'll put the poly ring on first, see? So you see the poly ring is against the body here, and the poly ring will be against it here. And then I will slip another one on here, and I'll let Daniel film, and I'll show you what I do. Now, you're just going to put it on there and give it a little shake to make sure it's locked but not snug. You don't want that real hard against there. You're just going to push it. You see how it kind of moves a little, and you're just going to let it rest. And then you'll tighten up your bearing, or your lock collar, sorry. Tighten up your lock collar. And these can handle a significant amount of torque, but you're going to put about 40 pounds on it. All right, so we'll get that. And now it's on there. And then Kira, grab me the slip ring over there. Yeah, with the slip ring and the wires right there on that side. Now, the way that Tony's is manufactured to go on here is that he has it to where this goes on your 1.5-inch pipe. So I'm going to show you this, and you'll see that the snug fit of that goes on there. So it's pretty snug, and it'll go on there just like that. Now, if he provided one that's threaded, it would make it a little bit easier, but you're not paying a whole hell of a lot, and you can figure out how to adapt it like I do. All the ones I install, and I've installed a number of these hurricane wind turbines, I take the slip ring and I grind it down a little bit, and then I use a plumbing washer, because you got to remember this is 1.5-inch pipe here. I use what's called a plumbing nut, a DWV nut, and I'm not going to do it right now, but I'll use the standard rubber seal that goes with them, and I'll put that on there like that. The wires will go down inside. Now, you guys are probably wondering, why has it got 6 wires here, and the PMA has 3 wires? Well, because it produces so much amperage, each of these legs are only good for 30 amps. So what you're going to do is you're going to match your 2, like a yellow and a white. You'll match like a red and a green. And don't worry, this is electrically fine. And you'll match a blue and a black, but you could choose anything you want. Hell, you could go a white and a blue. Doesn't matter. All you have to do is when you get on the other side, before you hook it up to your drop or to your turbine, make sure that they come out the same way, that you have that, so that you've doubled your amperage to 60, and then that mathematically gives you 120 plus 21%. So you're looking at about 150 amps capable is what you've actually produced a result. People that sell these and claim they're 180 amp, not really. Okay, they're close. Once they go against the resistive load of a battery, that changes because the voltage, lower voltage, higher amps. Now, Tony's going to like to see this, because actually I haven't even showed this guy this stuff. This is how this goes in. You see how that seals nice? And then the nut, so that these make it really easy to replace the slip ring in the future. And then that just tightens down. You don't have to use anything on there, silicone or nothing. I mean, it won't really drip. And then on top of that, here, give me the shrink tape that's over there, that black strip. Thank you, dear. And then I will be using a piece of standard shrink tape, and I recommend 12 millimeter to go around this and go all the way down to the middle of the rotating part right there. You see how that part right there rotates? And so that means when your turbine spins, this stays here, but the bottom section of it rotates. If that makes sense. So as I turn, so I'm gonna show you here. I'm gonna attach this. This pipe stays fixed. It doesn't move. This part here stays fixed, but this now turns with the turbine, so that you don't bind up any wires. There won't be any wires hanging down the pipe in there. Those wires inside are fixed. This turns with this body right here. Okay, now we will get the next step that I use is a storm collar for a roof jack. So like you have on your plumbing or your roof, this just peels out of those cheap $4 ones you buy at Home Depot. And I will thread that in like so. And then this keeps the water and dirt out of your slip ring, and you just slip it on like that, and it gives you a rain shield. Now you can use the bigger one. I should have used the bigger one here, but it gives you a rain shield to keep stuff out of your grease down here. You will be using just standard grease. Inside of these, you can use, I prefer marine grease for that, and just coat them before you assemble them. Now, since we're not going to put this one up today, I'm not going to be coating them right now. We'll take the turbine here, and we're going to go ahead and show you how it mounts. All right, guys, now we're prepped for it. Kira and Daniel are ready to do this. I'm going to do the filming because, well, you might as well let them do the work. This is a tapered hub, or a tapered shaft for the tapered hub. So the hub has a tapered fit that goes in here, and you'll remove it. Now, they might stick a little bit, so you'll just take a hammer and just kind of gently work around it, tapping it, and it'll come right off. Once you tighten this down, it will not come off very easy, and you want to use an impact like this to do it with a 24 millimeter socket. we're going to go ahead and get this and get it put in. So Daniel's going to take this and Kira's going to work the bolts on it and shows you how this thing gets mounted. So he'll put his wires through and let them hang out on the other side, and then he's going to line up. Now, if you look up here, every so many of these has got a missing bolt, and she's going to put her bolts through like that. Now it's got an Allen wrench right there that goes up the top, hex key, whatever you want to call it, and make sure it pushes down in there. And then she's going to put the nuts on the bottom, get them started. Now while they're doing that, I'll go over here and get the tool. I have a viewer that is in Austria, not Australia, okay, Austria. And he sent me these really cool wrenches, and I have been using them quite a bit. I love this one right here. It's a tool called Erba. I guess that, hope I'm doing that right. But this is a wicked little tool, and I like it because it's like really close. So let's check this out, and you got to make sure them things go in. Now there's a little bit of paint flash that's on these, so you might have to
Use a hammer.
take a hammer and just gently put them down in there. And then, got them all, and I'll leave her that hammer there. So once they go in, you're going to back this up with an Allen wrench over here, and you will put your socket or ratchet on the bottom, and you will firm these up. These only need to be to about 20 foot-pounds. Don't over torque these. That is a very long bolt, and you got plenty of them holding the mass of this on. Don't worry about it. It's very strong. These are hardened steel bolts, but being that they're that long, they can twist if you're not careful, so don't overdo it. And we will show you why I use the shrink tape. The shrink tape protects the wires. Now these are UV rated, but I put extra on there, and make sure you get that on there so that you seal up nicely, and you just double the life of your wires doing that. All right, so they're going to work on that. And then I want to show you this tail section over here. Now Tony makes the wickedest tail section. It actually goes together like this. This is the vector style tail. So that is how it looks. It's really cool. Kind of like almost some Star Wars stuff going on there. I really like that. And the cool thing about it is the design actually prevents what's called wag chatter. So in the little small wind turbine business, you have something called wag chatter, and I'm sure you guys have seen this. The little wind turbine wants to track, and then it flexes back and forth, and your blades will speed up in the direct wind, and then they'll kind of flutter a little bit as they correct again. They keep doing that. Well, the good thing about Tony come up with this design, and I'm damn glad he did. I wish everybody would use it. It really causes that turbine to track in the most premium way. Now, this is the bottom, as you would install, and this is the top. So we're going to get that put on there in just a second. And of course, like everything, all hardware is included with everything he does. So, and don't forget, do send him an email if you want to upgrade, like I showed you there in the video. Now, I'm sorry this is a long video. It is long, but everything, you have to have people learn about this. Some of you guys, you done 10 of these, you just want to change, get a new one, you can't beat it. It comes with everything. There's your rectifier, and there is a very hard to find 3/8 wide, okay, spades that go on that, and they'll handle 8 gauge. You need to make sure it's tight, but they'll handle that. The rectifier is a 100 amp. It is a good, very good brand of rectifier. I'm glad I get the ones from him. You see that heavy potting in that? Very good. The hardware he supplies with this is very good. This is for all the blades. It includes an Allen wrench with it, just like this over here included one for putting that together. So let's get this put together, and I want to show you the finished layout. We'll explain some more, and I'll show you how the wiring goes together.
As Dad lights a cigar, we start on the new process because he's only allowed to smoke them in the shop. Mom doesn't like him sneaking up the house.
Oh, quit. All right, so she started without me here. My kids, they like to catch me at the worst moments. All right, so, all right, guys. Here is the hub, and let me put this over here. I have my holder over here. Here, my continuously nicotine stained fingers. All right, here's the parts for the blades. So you will notice that you have this odd bolt in here. The odd bolt is for your nose cone. If somebody don't provide you with a nose cone, they're providing you with a buttload of turbulence. So Tony provides you with a beautiful nose cone. It is a very good one. Those are real durable. And when you put them on, you're going to use Loctite right here, standard 262. You'll put it on the half of the threads, and right here, if you notice right here in the very tip, it threads in to the shaft and it holds your nose cone on. So there's that right there, and it just uses the provided Allen wrench right there. So there's that. Now, they're going to go ahead and they're going to start their process of putting the blades on. The blades do have the little notch so that they fit perfect. You cannot screw this up, okay? And so they're going to go ahead and get started and get them going. On the back, you have the locking hex that is set up right here so that when you put it in, it's going to suck that thing in there, and you might have to, like I said, there's good paint flash on this, so you might have to give it just a slight tap to set the hex down into those. Tony has these all marine coated. So if y'all have ever dealt with marine coated, you understand what I'm talking about. Paint will be an issue, but it's not lack of, it's in excess of, okay? So there you go there. They're going to put their bolts up through there, and they'll put them on one blade at a time. And up here, right here, look up here in the video, I'm going to put a link on how you balance those blades. Go to that video, and if you need extra blades, that video also will provide you with where to get them. All right, so they're going to do that and give them a light tap so they set in good. You see what she's doing there? Just a light tap. That's all it takes. And now she'll flip these back over, and they'll pull themselves in the rest of the way. You just want to make sure that they're in there so they don't spin on you. Now, you just simply take the blade. Now, we're going to not film this whole thing, and I'll show you here in just a second because we don't have the space. We're going to do the rest on the floor. But she will line up and put the bolts straight on through, and then give it a light tap with a hammer so that it goes down. See that? There you go, because these holes are very tight, and that's damn good. A lot of them have a lot of slack in them, all right? And then...
What is a V-swing, huh?
Yeah, that's what my 45-year-old E-swing. So all the washers go on, and then your lock washers go on, and you're talking about 15 pounds to 20 pounds is all. Do not overcompress these. And these are NX6. It's nylon 6. You can go look that up. That is extreme material. All right, so they're going to get those on, and then we're going to show you the entire turbine. And you can see Kira has put the tail on while me and Daniel were taking some parts out of here. She has got the tail put on, and it's the 7/16 bolts on it. Now, in Tony's ads, he'll show the tail down. I think on some of them. But believe me, I've done them both. And this, put them up, put the tail up. The reason is simple. I'm going to show you this, and I hope Tony's watching. You look down the length of that, what do you see right here? You see the pipe? You see the rest of the frame? That's turbulence. To correct that turbulence up higher, if that's not the way you're thinking you would put them, by putting it up higher, it tracks better, a lot better. All right, so let's let them get that together. Once again, I'm sorry this video is long, and I'm hoping you're staying with me because if you want one of these, this is how you do it. All right, as they're working on it, adding all the additional parts on it, steps are the same, just like you just saw. Now, over here, back where I'm at, I'm using a 36-inch piece of 1.5-inch pipe. Now, this is a significant turbine. It's not light. Now, if you're buying one of these turbines, it says, I mean, it's got like 4-foot blades, and it says that it's like 4,000 watts, you're getting ripped off. Look at this up here, or the end of the video, and I'll send you a link explaining that. Don't get fooled. Don't get fooled. Anybody that claims they got 2,000 watts out of something, you know, the size of that roof jack right there, you're getting ripped off. Don't do it. Stick with what's real. Stick with the real stuff. Now, It does cost you a few dollars more. In some cases, a couple hundred, but you get real, all right? The other thing is that Hurricane Wind Power sells 110 volt, 90 volt, 110 volt, and higher turbines. So if you want a grid tie, you'll have to order you the right thing, and Tony will get you that. The guy's name is Tony. He will get you that. But you have to be aware that when you go to the website, you're going to see lots of voltages, and there's difference of windings in these. Now, I use a 36-inch pipe. I go 14 inches down, and you can see my setup, and there's that bigger one. See how it covers that real nice for the grease. And then I have one here, and then I have another locking collar, okay? The other locking collar is got a reason now. A 2-inch pipe is 2-inch ID. This is 1 15/16 ID, OD on the outside of the pipe. So I put a piece of that poly stuff, and this is what it is right here. You see it? It's just this the stuff that they use for like the inside of greenhouse windows, and it's very durable. And I use that, wrap it up, and it goes in here, and then I mount a piece of 2-inch. I mount all of this turbine in schedule 40. This is schedule 40 1.5 inch. This is schedule 40 2-inch. So you see how close I am to here going up. Now I allow just enough, and then I use a hardened coupling. And if I don't have a hardened coupling, like this is a service coupling, then what I will do is I will actually put 3 of these clamps around it, just like this, 3 hose clamps, stainless steel hose clamps. And the only reason I do that is because heavy winds in my area, torque can cause these to fracture. So if you put the clamps on them, it resists the torque, resists the fracture. But basically, you should be using a heavier. I'm just using this coupling because it's a service coupling that came with this. But just as an example, I would suggest using the heavier coupling. Now, as you'll notice, my pipe is sticking past. So it goes down more into the next 2-inch pipe. It runs down. This allows me something that I can carry up on the roof on my shoulder. I'm getting to an age now where I'm hoping this boy over here gets big enough to hurry up and do that. I've mounted a hell of a lot of turbines. So this right here, if you can look through my channel, all my videos, a lot of turbine related stuff. I've been doing this now for a decade plus. But this here is how I set up. So you got a 2-inch pipe here, and I put in it just a standard machining. Focus on that. You see that tip? So I'll pre-drill it and then put like a set screw into this. These will tighten up down onto this 1.5-inch pipe, and then I can thread this onto my 2-inch pipe when I carry this up on the roof. That little bit sticking out, or if I carry it up on a pole, that little bit sticking out right there allows me to drop it into the top of that pipe and spin it into place. You understand? And you can take these loose once you're up there and do the same thing. It's kind of harder to stab that much pipe, this much pipe. So I use an 8-inch nipple that's on here and the coupling, and then I can literally just slide it on here, and it makes it easy. So you'll understand that when you try this. Locking collar for this to rest on, okay? These to tighten it down on, very secure. Locking collar, the bearings greased, and a water shield. And then, of course, over here. So we're going to get over here, and I'm going to show you the wiring. So let's say that I connected the blue and the white together inside with a drop wire. So I have an 8-gauge drop wire that comes off of it that'll go down the pipe. We'll already have my drop wire. If my pipe is 30 feet, I'll have 36 feet of drop wire. So I have 6 feet coming out the end. You have to thread that in first. That's why being able to stab that pipe into 2 inches is so important. So you'll thread that through. You have 6 feet, so you can lay this or hold this in a certain way, and then you'll lift that up and it'll drop it all down. So if we have, what I say here, blue and white, so if we have a blue and white, we're going to attach them to this one. If we have the other one is red and yellow, we'll attach them to the next wire. And then over here, the black and the green, we'll attach that. So you're literally just doubling your legs. So inside the pipe, I'll have black and green going to one 8-gauge wire drop. And same way with all these. And so you'll have 2 into 1. And then, of course, your shrink tape and your fittings and whatever you want to put on there. Now, this is very high-duty outdoor. They come with the little grommets, and I suggest deeply that you use the acrylic style welder. I'll put a link down. Look below the video. This is a long video, but this stuff here is really good for allowing it to pop in and hold it and waterproof it. It's way better than just silicone. Don't use silicone. Silicone on this aluminum stuff don't work good. That welder stuff works. Impressive. So you'll have this, and then you're going to take the wires for this, and you'll just drop them in here like that with your wires, and then you'll put these together like that, and then you see these extra holes that Tony gives you in these. That's for using a couple of zip ties. Now you can get the aluminum ones or just a heavy bread tie type material, and you'll put that through there, and you'll strap these wires off like this, and be sure you allow it to stay nice and bowed up here at the top like this, so that it's allowed to turn. So now once that's fully secured, you'll see that the whole turbine, this part of the body can turn, but what's inside the pipe, the wires just hang. They don't spin or anything. All your power is transmitted through there. Follow the same process, okay? And hopefully he'll follow my idea. Here, I've got about 20 turbines in the air using this exact setup. One on the roof now of the shop, the Chaos turbine. Works perfect. All right, now, there they go building the blades. Like I said, check up in there, you're gonna see, my big old finger, check up in there, you're gonna see a link to how to balance these turbine blades. Very good. And balance has got nothing to do with the weight. You just wanna check the distance between every point of every blade to make sure that when you tighten something up, you didn't move it. So far, every single Hurricane wind turbine that I've put together that has that hub setup, I didn't have to worry about it, but I still check. All right, we'll have it all put together to show you guys. The next video on this turbine will be it on the shop, making power, and we'll be putting it through our system right here, like this one, but it'll be over there next to the battery bank, and you'll see that. All right, guys, I'll show you a brief one here of it all put together. All right, guys, they put the blades together, and they have test fitted on the hub, and as it sits right now, the way that it mounts on there is just a compression or a tapered fit. So Daniel's going to finish this off. You'll get an idea what it looks like.
So what you're going to do is make sure you test everything. You test fit everything before putting this up on your roof. You're going to not want to take this up with it on the turbine itself. You want to take the blades up separately, otherwise it is very awkward and that won't work out too well.
And you can risk falling off the ladder that way.
Yeah, so you guys, make sure your turbine's on its pipe if you're going to raise it up on a stand pole, or if it's on the roof, don't carry your blades up with it mounted. And then you'll just take you something like this. You'll get you an impact or just a good drill, and I prefer using an impact. You can use something small like a little Black & Decker one here. That'll work fine. Just make sure you have a fresh battery on it. And he's going to get that. He's going to show you how that nose cone goes on.
Oh, and warning, do not tighten this down to test fit it. Test fit the hub, otherwise you will really hate yourself because it'll compress. There's something that compresses in there and it just gets stuck, and you don't want to do that.
So when you put it on there, just do what he's doing here. He's just showing you what you'll do when you get up on the ladder, on the roof, or on the with the pole laying there ready to be raised up, what it's going to look like.
Make sure you put Loctite on your bolts. We didn't put Loctite on ours because this is all just temporary. We won't put that Loctite on until we mount it up on the roof.
So it threads in as you've seen there in the video, and I hope you guys stuck with this, and I hope you look down there below the video and you see all the different parts and things that you can use to do this. So everything will be down there in links. So he's tightening that up, and it only needs 6 to 10 pounds. Don't over tighten that. You will fracture that. You just want to test it and see if it wiggles around a little bit. And that's all you want to do with it. So as you'll see here, this is the Hurricane wind turbine. It ain't small. It's pretty good size. So there you go. It's a big turbine. But it is a good power producer. And I have put these in Colorado. They have been in the mountain valleys. They have hit some hellacious winds, and they do well. So I do not recommend putting them on 1.5-inch pipe continuously. So don't mount these on that just inch and a half pipe. And as far as guy wires, you seen how I just described that. You're going to go down, if you use a 36-inch pipe, from the bottom of this coupling, you're going to go 2 feet down, and that's where you're going to put your guy wires on your 2-inch pipe here. Now you can use 12 feet of it on your roof. Up here in my shop, I've got, way up there, I got the pipe that goes out the center for that 800 watt. You see that's all it is. It's a 12-foot piece. And it's kind of set up in the same way. This is a hurricane wind power turbine. I hope you guys stayed with the videos. Y'all hope so?
Yep.
And y'all go there. HurricaneWindPower.com. Wind 5. Put something in your cart. Put 10 things in your cart. Put 50 things in your cart. Wind 5. Put that on your promo code. It's got a promo code thing or whatever they call on there. And it's not hard. Y'all can do it. We'll do more. Look at my videos. Shows you how to do all this stuff. Blurred out there. And next video. That one. Working on that one. Teaching them more. All right, guys. Y'all be good. Hurricane, man. Cool stuff.